Does a pig farm with a small number of pigs use natural service, the normal natural service using a boar, or does that farmer now have the opportunity to choose to use artificial insemination? Slightly more technical, but an easy process once it's learned. The circumstances and the decision as to which of those two a stockman does use, and it's a stockman's task, depends on certain factors. Do we have a boar? Do we need to keep a boar? The expense of the boar? And do we have the genetics that we need to use? And even if we have a boar, the boar may be too big, or he may be closely related to the individual female that we want to mate. So there are those sort of decisions, and at this stage we're starting to look at whether a particular sow is ready for artificial insemination, and the key is to know whether she is ready in standing estrus to receive the catheter. If she's not in standing estrus, we mustn't AI her. So we'll check this sow now, and she has a boar with her, so we can use all the signs. We have to look and interpret the signs from this sow to say, is she ready for insemination? Is she brimming? Is she in standing estrus? This nicely made young sow was weaned about 7 days ago, and clearly after weaning 7 days, 6 weeks weaning, she should have been in heat for maximum fertility on the 5th day. We now need to check whether she's ready for service on this 7th day. And the way we do that is to appraise her behavior. We actually look at her and say, well, has her behavior changed? Is she off her feed a bit? Has her voice changed? She's interested in the boar next door, and the boar's pheromones from his saliva and his urine and prepuce and his feet even actually help to switch this sow on. We did check her not long ago, and she's had a rest, and it's worth remembering that she only has a likelihood of showing signs of standing estrus every 15 minutes in an hour. So now we have to pretend as if I'm the boar in courting her, pushing on her rump to just see if she's actually solid, it's sufficiently to bear my weight as if I was a boar. And the boar always nuzzles the sow, always does a lot of flank rubbing and a bit of frothing and so on. And so this sort of thing is what we need to do. We need to do this, and we need to start getting an impression in this sow that was weaned about 7 days ago, and she needs to come on heat now because the 5th day is the best day for her to be sure to conceive well after weaning. She's the 7th day, so we need her actually in estrus now. So the question arises, do we have any signs here? Pro-estrus, that's the day before service, the vulva is always swollen and pink. At the time of standing estrus, the vulva tends to subside, so that appearance doesn't give us much of a guide. It just tells us she's not now in pro-estrus. She could be brimming. I have to make the decision now, and this is not a veterinary job. This is a stockman's skill, which is easily learnt, needs a course to go on, and the most important thing is to decide whether the sow is ready for service or not. If she's not ready for service, we take a rain check. We go back later on in the day, twice a day checking. You must have twice a day checking. And we need to remember that the sow only shows activity for 15 minutes per hour. So she'll lie down in a minute and say, not now. The equipment for artificial insemination in pigs is you have to have bottles of semen. So the semen arrives in the post the next morning in a polystyrene pack. The polystyrene pack is actually the best way of retaining the temperature. The best temperature for storing semen is 17 degrees Celsius, so definitely not in the fridge and definitely not cooked. Put on the shelf, in the cool, left as it is until we need it. 3 doses come, and we have about 2 to 3 billion sperm in a dose of 150 mLs. That's the actual container. and that actually is rotated when we come to use it a few times to make sure that the sedimentation effect is nullified. It's all packed in this polystyrene, and it must be kept clean, hygienic, and within the right temperature range. The other part of the equipment that comes is the catheters, and there are two forms of catheter. There's the plug catheter and the more traditional corkscrew type of catheter. So that's what you actually need, along with gloves, always double gloved, a dry wipe. This is a dry process. This is not a wet process. There's not a lot of cleaning and washing and things. Certainly no disinfectant. And then we're more or less ready to go when the sow is in standing estrus. This gilt with the stockman on top is standing estrus. So we should be able to select which catheter we're going to use. We've got our semen in my pocket, willing at the right temperature, 17 degrees Celsius or thereabout, and ready to go. This is a dry hygiene technique, no water, no disinfectant, no moisture in touch with the semen. So in this case, I'm going to use this catheter, remaining in its sleeve. It's a glove job, so we need gloves for this. So double gloves, one on each hand. So we just introduce the catheter at this sort of angle, advance it through the vagina in that position, 45 degrees, and just keep advancing until, in fact, that's gone in to the cervix. Now I can feel that it won't go any further. A little bit of an extra push will engage it into the cervix. That now is locked into the cervix, and in tugging it back, it won't come back easily. So it's locked into the first ring of the cervix. The catheter stays at a horizontal level, and we now prepare the bottle. We have the bottle here. The catheter can stay locked. The scissors actually remove the top from the catheter, from the bottle. That connects to the top. Slight semen to lubricate the passage of and then at about 30 degrees, with a slight squeeze to start the gravity, and then I can feel that bottle actually going in. So the semen is at 17 degrees centigrade, and the sow is actually just aspirating that semen quite quickly. The art of this job is to be patient, to talk to the sow, for the stockman to rub the sow and to press his knees against the flanks of the sow as if the boar is actually on top mating this sow. And from time to time we may even have to remove the bottle, allow air to come in so that there's not a pressure developed in the catheter. So that was a successful insemination using the more plug-like catheter. The traditional catheter is the one with the spiral end, and that's the one that is likely to be received by the pig farmer with the semen pack. And that's the, as I say, the more traditional one, where we insert the catheter at the same angle, 45 degrees upwards to avoid the opening into the bladder, and then rotating clockwise until it locks. So we get the same locking arrangement where the stockman pulls the catheter back slightly, and it actually is obviously locked before he connects the semen bottle to the top of this catheter. So that's the more traditional catheter. When we're talking about natural serving, the question arises, do you move the sow to the boar or the boar to the sow? The preferred option is to move her to the boar, for the boar then to start his pre-copulation behavior. Nose to nose, we're in a good pen, good underfoot conditions, he's not slipping, just checking her out, nuzzling in the side of the sow, and that's all preparation, that's foreplay. We need a pen design that allows him to line up, so the pen, you need at least a 2.4 meter length. so the sow and the boar can line up. A bit more chatting going on, but good lighting. A healthy boar and a healthy sow, and everything should fall into place, as it were. And you can see the most important thing for the stockman is to make sure that mating actually does take place. You'll see that he's starting to ejaculate now, because the anus is what we call winking. So he's actually ejaculating now, and this process can last for about 5 to 10, even 15 minutes. The boar's sperm remain viable for up to 48 hours. And so we need to time our service to coincide with maximum ovulation, maybe 20 eggs released, coinciding with a lot of viable sperm there. And then we get maximum fertilization. We don't want to be serving too early so that the sperm are all dead. What we do now is crucial. We must separate the sow from the boar and give her chance to rest. The general pattern is 1 use of the boar per day, so that he then comes back and serves the sow again 24 hours later. And everything should fall into place, and we have a lovely litter of a good number of live pigs after 116 days.
Using ultrasonic, we can test the pregnancy of our pigs and gilts. We get a clear screen with our lubricant on it. When I introduce it to the last teat at about 90 degrees, I'm looking for some black patches, which are the embryonic sacs of the piglets. And that proves to me that that pig is in pig. We can freeze the frame so that we then can reproduce it for our sale purposes to prove to our buyer that it is in pig. I also can change the feeding routine of this pig. I can start and boost this pig now to go on and grow the pigs inside it. This we can do from 19 days onwards, so it's a great asset to us.